Good day, Crime Talk aficionados. Are you ready for another great show? First on the docket, Bryan Kohberger's plea agreement follows a witness list featuring his sister. The father accused in the death of his daughter's alleged abuser, well, he's running for sheriff. Two people are facing charges for an elaborate psychic fraud scheme. The former landlord of David, spelled with a 4, launches an independent inquiry into Celeste Rivas's death because, well, LAPD doesn't seem to be moving too fast. And oh, look, who's finally punching the clock. Madigan's long-awaited retirement behind bars. We've got this day in legal history, our quote of the day, and our dumb criminal. Let's talk about it.
All right, lawyer.
Good day, everyone. My name is Scott Reich, and this is Crime Talk. Thanks for joining us. You know the drill. Subscribe if you haven't, like if you do, leave me a comment below, hit that bell for notifications, and yes, you can check us out on any of your favorite podcasting apps. Now, I remind you to go hit that little bell because sometimes YouTube seems like they do a big reset and turns off everybody's notifications. So if you wouldn't mind going to do that again, that'd be great. All right. Before we get to the docket, let me remind you, you can go to crimetalksearch.com and sign up for a background subscription service where you can do as many background searches as you desire. When you punch in the information, the person that you're looking for, a report is literally prepared while you wait, and the results are emailed to you within minutes. And then you are going to get information about this particular individual, probably more than you ever thought you could possibly get publicly. You're going to find out about email addresses, social media presence, phone numbers. You're going to find out property they owned, the vehicles they've owned. Are they married? Are they divorced? Real estate. Well, do they own it? Does it have huge liens against it? Are there legal judgments against that particular individual? And of course, most importantly, you're going to find out whether they have a criminal history. So go to crimetalksearch.com, sign up for that background subscription service today. You can do as many searches as you desire. You have that subscription. And guess what? Whether you want to do one search or 1,000 searches, you can cancel at any time. Let me also remind you, go to the link below. You can check out, yes, get the keychain, the Crime Talk keychain. How about lawyer t-shirt? That's right. How about even better yet, favorite, the Constitution Matters. That's right. Go check it out. Get your Crime Talk merch, ladies and gentlemen. All right, let's go ahead and open the record for Tuesday, October 14th, 2025. And first on the docket, Bryan Kohberger again. So in what could possibly be a significant development in the case of Bryan Kohberger, the now convicted murderer of 4 University of Idaho students, we have discovered through some unsealed court documents, kind of some prosecution witness list individuals and, the timing as it related to the plea deal. Now, I'm not a big believer in coincidences, but you never know if this was the smoking gun or the one witness that said to Bryan Kohberger, I'm going to plead guilty. So these documents indicate that Kohberger's sister, Amanda Kohberger, was among potential witnesses for the state during the guilt phase of the trial. Notably, Kohberger entered into a plea agreement days after the witness list was filed, raising questions about the potential influence of this revelation on his decision. Kohberger, who faced charges for the 2022 stabbing deaths of those 4 University of College students, avoided a full trial by pleading guilty to 4 counts of murder plus the burglary count. Now, this agreement spared him from the possibility of capital punishment, resulting in 4 consecutive life sentences without the possibility of parole as imposed during his sentencing back on July 23rd of this year. Now, the timing of the plea, shortly following the June 25th motion to unseal the witness list, has drawn attention to the inclusion of Amanda Kohberger as the sole immediate family member listed by prosecutors. Now, the record suggests that Amanda's potential testimony may have stemmed from a prior incident in 2014 when Kohberger was charged with misdemeanor theft for allegedly taking his sister's cell phone. This event was reported by their father, Michael Kohberger, according to the documentation. Now, the prosecution, led by the Latah County Prosecutor Bill Thompson, had previously indicated that Kohberger's family members were unlikely to provide testimony beneficial to his defense. However, Amanda's unique position as a witness for both sides is evident. She also appeared on the defense list of mitigation witnesses intended to offer evidence that could potentially lessen Kohberger's perceived culpability if he was ultimately convicted. Now, the unsealed list, ordered released by Ada County Judge Stephen Hippler, encompasses over 180 potential prosecution witnesses for the guilt phase and 56 for the defense mitigation phase. Among the prosecution's notable inclusion were surviving roommates Bethany Funk and Dylan Mortensen, obviously, as well as Ethan Chapin's triplet siblings, Hunter and Maisie Chapin, who were present at the crime scene on the morning the bodies were discovered. Now, in response to the plea deal, Stacy Chapin, mother of Ethan and the triplets, expressed relief that her children and the surviving roommates would not need to testify, thereby avoiding the re-traumatization of recounting the events. Now, the defense's mitigation witness list featured additional family members, including Kohberger's other sister, Melissa, and his parents, Michael and Marianne. It's also included John Snyder, a professor at Washington State University, where Kohberger served as a teaching assistant. Now, Snyder's inclusion is noteworthy given prior professional tensions. Kohberger had received a conduct warning following a verbal altercation with Snyder, and he was subsequently informed that his teaching position would not be renewed. Following Kohberger's arrest, the university issued a directive prohibiting him from remaining on the campus premises at all. Now, the court's amended order on unsealing, redacting, or maintaining sealed status of the records addressed concerns from both parties regarding witness privacy and the potential for harassment. While acknowledging past instances of media scrutiny and threats to some witnesses, the order concluded that the public's right to access outweighed these risks, particularly as no severe threats to life or safety had been reported, and specific redactions were applied to protect personal addresses and locations, but the witnesses' names themselves were disclosed. Now, this case, marked by intense public and media scrutiny, underscores the complexity, obviously, of high-profile criminal proceedings, including the delicate balance between transparency and witness protection. Kohberger's decision to accept the plea deal, aligning closely with the revelations of his sister's involvement, certainly highlights potential family dynamics at play, though no direct causation has been established. Now, as the matter concludes with Kohberger's incarceration, it serves as a reminder of the profound impact on all parties involved in such tragedies. Good for the judge releasing it. It is what it is. People's names, it's a public information. Trials are meant to be public. I've said this before. I will say it again. I disagree with some of the judge's decisions, particularly not Judge Hippler, but the other judge that ruled on the crime scene photographs. Hey, you don't want to look at them. You don't have to see them. But hey, the judge has ruled. It is what it is. Next on the docket, a father accused in the death of his daughter's alleged abuser. Well, he's running for sheriff. So a man facing charges for the fatal shooting of an individual accused of sexually assaulting his 14-year-old daughter has declared his intention to run for the position of sheriff in Lonoke County, Arkansas. He asserts that the judicial process has inadequately addressed his situation by pursuing murder charges against him. Now, according to the legal records, Aaron Spencer is alleged to have shot Michael Fossler, who is age 67, upon discovering him departing in a vehicle with Spencer's daughter. Now, Foster had previously faced accusations of grooming and abusing the minor, and Spencer announced his candidacy through a video posted on Facebook on Saturday, where he described himself as a parent who intervened to safeguard his child amid perceived shortcomings in the system. Now, in the video, Spencer stated that his personal experience with the legal proceedings in the process has revealed deficiencies in both law enforcement and the local court system, and he expressed a commitment to preventing similar experiences for others. Now, Spencer framed his campaign as an effort to reestablish faith in the law, as well as law enforcement agencies, emphasizing the need for community members to feel secure and supported. He further noted that the initiative focuses on upholding justice for families and residents, and court records indicate that Spencer was charged with second-degree murder in October of the previous year after reportedly locating his missing daughter in Foster's vehicle, and Foster had been indicted on several sexual offenses related to the girl. Spencer informed the authorities that he searched the area after noticing his daughter's absence, confronted Foster by compelling him to stop the car, and then discharged a firearm. Spencer's spouse, Heather, initiated an online fundraising effort on his behalf. She described how their daughter had been systematically targeted, manipulated, and assaulted by an acquaintance's partner. Heather explained that although the perpetrator was promptly charged, he was released on a $50,000 bond and was awaiting trial on multiple felony counts. She characterized the charges against her husband as unjust, asserting that his actions were necessary to ensure their daughter's safe return. Now, Spencer's next court appearance is scheduled for a pretrial hearing on December 16th, with the trial commencing on January 26th. Now, the campaign video received numerous expressions of support, including from Spencer's son, Malachi, who conveyed pride in his father. Other commentators voiced strong endorsements, with some highlighting themes of parental protection and veteran solidarity. The Lonoke County Sheriff's Office has not yet provided a response to any inquiries regarding this matter. Now, I'm not sure what this individual's experience is in law enforcement, but guess what? You don't really need any to be the elected sheriff in town. Is he serious about it? He says he is. I don't know. Is it going to stop the prosecution against him, even if he's elected sheriff? Probably not. It's a question of fact. Did he act in accordance with the law, or did he violate the law? That's what juries decide. And just because you're the sheriff after the fact doesn't mean you get a free pass. Leave me a comment below. Let me know what you think. Next on the docket, 2 people are facing charges in an elaborate psychic fraud. That's right. A pair of self-proclaimed visionaries has been nabbed for what police generously described as an elaborate scheme involving psychic services that miraculously drained over $600,000 from trusting souls desperate for a glimpse into their future. In a display of entrepreneurial ingenuity that surely rivals the great innovators of our time, Gina Marie Marks, who's 52, from Huntingdon Valley, and Steve Nichols, 40, from Jenks,town, now face a litany of serious charges in Montgomery County, Pennsylvania. These include operating a corrupt organization, theft through unlawful means, deceptive practices, handling ill-gotten gains, possessing stolen items, and most fittingly, the archaic offense of fortune-telling. One can only admire the creativity required to blend ancient mysticism with modern financial extraction. From their quaint establishment, Jenkstown Psychic Visions on Old York Road, the duo allegedly persuaded clients of impending doom via invisible curses, insisting that only lavish payments for rituals could avert catastrophe. In one particularly heartwarming case, a victim was warned that skimping on funds would shatter her marriage, ruin her business, and devastate her family. Over a leisurely 11-month period from September of 2022 through August of 2023, the pair amassed nearly $596,000 worth of cash, jewelry, apparel, event tickets, and gift cards, all under the noble pretext of cleansing these burdens in life. Naturally, none of these treasures were ever restored to their rightful owners because, well, why spoil the magic? As if it weren't enough to restore faith in human kindness, a second individual emerged during the probe, which kicked off in December of 2024. This person claimed Mark's escalated demands to include sensitive personal details, photographs, a luxury handbag from a renowned French designer, and additional sums, all backed by veiled threats to harm the reputation and personal well-being. Investigators peg the haul from this encounter at no less than $18,000, pocket change in the grand scheme of spiritual enlightenment. Now, banking records from digital payment platforms and local credit unions conveniently trace the inflows straight to accounts controlled by Marks and Nicholas, leaving little room for doubt about the beneficiaries of the enlightened enterprises. Now, the district attorney, ever the voice of reason, remarked that these individuals exploited those seeking solace and optimism, turning vulnerability into profit. How reassuring to know that they will finally face consequences for such innovative philanthropy. Now, the arrest occurred on October 7th with arraignment before a local magistrate who set bail at 10% of a modest $50,000 bond for Marks and the same for a percentage of a $25,000 for Nicholas. Both secured their freedom after posting and now awaiting a preliminary hearing on October 20th before another judge. One can only hope that the proceedings reveal even more profound insights into the human condition. Now, this is the thing. If you knew a psychic, well, if the psychic knew that this was coming, why didn't they leave? I don't know. Interesting. I know a lot of people believe in psychic stuff. My one psychic experience, it was busy time. Someone said, oh, you need to talk to this person. So I called the person up. They told me everything was going great. Life is wonderful. And then I don't know, like a week later, life wasn't so wonderful and employees steal several hundreds of thousands of dollars from me. So psychic, 1,000% wrong on that particular one. But hey, I guess I had a 50-50 shot, right? 50-50 shot. Maybe we should start a CrimeTalk psychic hotline. Call and we'll tell you everything's going to be great. And we won't even charge for Italian handbags or anything like that, what these yahoos were doing. Unbelievable. My gosh. Unbelievable. Next, the former landlord of David, spelled with a 4, wants to do his own investigation because, well, LAPD seems to be moving a little slow. The proprietor of a luxurious residence in the Hollywood Hills, previously occupied by singer David, spelled with a 4, during a police search related to the demise of a young woman, has engaged a private detective due to the absence of updates from police. Celeste Rivas Hernandez's decomposed body was located on September 8th within the front storage compartment of a seized Tesla belonging to David, spelled with a 4, whose legal name is David Anthony Burke. She had been declared missing for a year, having left her residence in April of the prior year at the age of 13. On September 17th, investigators from the Los Angeles Police Department Homicide Unit conducted a search of the $4.1 million property where Burke had resided. Police acknowledged that the operation was connected to their inquiry into Rivas's death and that various evidentiary items were seized for examination, though no additional information was disclosed. In the period following the search, no detentions have occurred, no individuals have been identified as suspects, and the manner of Rivas's death remains undetermined. Well, Miladon Trifonic, Trifunoic, the owner of the estate where David, spelled with a 4, had been residing, is seeking to get some clarity on the matter. He's stated that his interaction with law enforcement has been minimal, and he's anxious about the potential involvement of his property in the incident surrounding Rivas's death. In pursuit of resolution, he has commissioned a private investigator to examine security recordings and consult with possible witnesses to ascertain if Rivas had been present at the location, and if affirmative, the date of her final appearance there. The landowner stated that he has enlisted a private investigator to collect details because my family and I wish a complete comprehension of any events that might or might not have transpired in or near a property that holds significant value to them. Maybe he could consult a psychic. We're now They say that they're not obstructing the LAPD's efforts. Rather, we are pursuing information that they suspect may not be provided to us without the assistance of a certified professional. Now, Burke, who's only 20, has not faced any charges or allegations of any wrongdoing, and the LAPD has not indicated whether he is assisting in the investigation. He had occupied the residence since February of the previous year, which was leased by his manager, a guy by the name of Josh Marshall, at the monthly rate of $20,000 per month. The Daily Mail initially reported that Marshall terminated the rental agreement shortly after the police action, referencing the current circumstances involving Burke. Now, Burke's present location is unknown, and he has secured representation from a prominent attorney in Hollywood who has not released any comments. The landowner noted that he became aware of Burke's tenancy only upon the execution of the search warrant, and according to his understanding, the residence was unoccupied at the time of the raid, as Burke was on a performance tour in the United States, and Marshall has publicly asserted via social media that he did not reside there. Service providers and local residents informed the property owner that unusual activities were observed around the period when Rivas's remains were discovered, and neighbors described the property as notably tranquil, and routine maintenance personnel, including landscapers, pool technicians, and even post-management and pest management specialists, reported no irregularities. Now, the property owner indicated that The police operations caused no permanent harm to the structure, and he has not been apprised of the specific analysis conducted by the police. Unverified reports suggest that officers were searching for traces of blood, though this has not been substantiated. Personnel were observed removing several objects, including a computer, and he remarked that law enforcement has not informed him that Celeste's deaths occurred in the house. There's no evidence indication that any incident took place in the house. He further noted that the LAPD has not outlined intentions for additional examinations and believes they have acquired all necessary materials for that inquiry. Now, although the family, the owners were unfamiliar with Celeste and unaware that David was residing in the home, they are profoundly saddened by the loss. And given that their property is central to the case, they are collaborating with a private investigator to gain that clear insight into the surrounding events. They intend to disclose any outcomes that they find, and hopefully, eventually, the LAPD will finally do something that they believe warrants an arrest in the particular case, but they do seem to be moving somewhat slow. Once again, maybe they need to hire the psychic. Now, Rivas was reported absent from her family's residence in Lake Eleanor, California, in April of the previous year at the age of 13, and her body was discovered one day following what would have marked her 15th birthday. The precise cause and timing of Rivas's death remains undetermined, and currently the LAPD has stated uncertainty regarding any criminal responsibility beyond the acts of concealing the remains. Oh, and dismembering as well, right? The official determination of her cause of death is pending additional evaluations, with indications suggesting she had been deceased for several weeks prior to discovery based on the extent of decomposition. Police are examining the connection between Rivas and Burke, including an analysis of photographs that seemingly depict them in each other's company. Sources associated with Rivas have previously disclosed that Burke engaged in an inappropriate relationship with the adolescent when she was as young as 11 or 12 years old. They allege that she departed her home to join him in Los Angeles, and further insights have emerged concerning the time frame preceding Rivas's disappearance in April of 2024. Records from emergency dispatches acquired revealed that law enforcement responded to her family's residence 11 times before she went missing, and an additional 22 times thereafter. Individuals familiar with the situation describe Rivas's domestic environment as challenging, noting multiple prior instances of her leaving home, and documentation from police and online platforms indicate her initial departure occurred sometime in February, specifically February 14th of 2024, accompanied by a note to her relatives prompting a missing persons report that morning. Officers revisited the location several times in the ensuing days as family members distributed posters and digital notifications. She subsequently returned, though the exact timing is not specified, and acquaintances have stated that she was distressed by the publicity surrounding her absence. However, by March 19th, she had departed again, with police attending the residence 3 times that particular day. Now, footage from surveillance released from TMZ depicted an individual resembling Rivas attired in light pants and a dark top, proceeding past a nearby liquor store. Rivas was once again listed as missing on April 5th, with police conducting a follow-up visit on April as well, including an entry for suspicious activity. Community members later reported to police that they observed her at the family home later that year, and a video on TikTok shared by a relative in June appeared to feature Rivas as a local gathering, although the recording date is uncertain. In the subsequent 9 months, police documented over a dozen further responses to the address for issues such as disturbances, property damage, and alleged physical altercations. Now, Rivas's remains were identified publicly the week after the discovery on September 8th, and shortly thereafter, the property documentation indicates that Burke conveyed ownership of 2 residences near Houston, Texas, to his mother. That's a weird one, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know. Get the psychic? I don't know. Police seem to be moving a little slow on that one. Normally, and we're not saying Mr. Burke had anything to do with it, but normally, when your alleged underage girlfriend winds up dead and dismembered in the front trunk storage compartment of your Tesla automobile, that's abandoned on a road, normally one is considered possibly the primary suspect. Now, I understand the police are going to have a hard time trying to establish the exact date and time and the location of the death. And who knows, maybe it was natural causes and somebody freaked out. But you would think if that were the case, somebody would have come forward and tried to explain the situation to the police. Obviously, everybody's entitled to the presumption of innocence. We're not saying anybody did anything wrong, but let's wait and see. Next on the docket, look who's finally punching the clock. Madigan's long-awaited retirement begins behind bars. So in a twist that absolutely no one saw coming, exactly literally everyone's who followed the Illinois politics, disgraced ex-Illinois House Speaker Michael Madigan shuffled off to federal prison yesterday to kick off his glamorous 7+ year vacation for good old-fashioned graft. That's right. At 83, the once untouchable kingpin of Illinois Democrats is now trading power suits for prison stripes, courtesy of a corruption rap sheet longer than his legislative legacy. Now, Madigan allegedly wielded his iron-fisted clout to grease the wheels for mega utility ComEd, pushing bills that lined their pockets in return for the oh-so-innocent perks of jobs, gigs, and sweetheart deals doled out to his loyal cronies like candy at a parade. In a shocking display of judicial backbone, a federal judge swatted down Madigan's plea to lounge in luxury while his lawyers fiddled with appeals. Surrender deadline, 2 p.m. sharp. No extensions for good behavior. In the lead up, yes, Michael, the Velvet Hammer Madigan, architect of Illinois' political machine for decades, now reduced to pondering life's deeper questions like, what does prison jello taste like? After a jury nailed him on 10 felony counts of bribery, conspiracy, and wire fraud back in the spring. Now, prosecutors painted a vivid portrait of backroom wizardry, steering laws to favor ComEd's bottom line, all while pocketing indirect windfalls for his inner circle. The tab, a cool $2.5 million in restitution, because nothing says public servant like footing the bill for your own excess. For the optimists out there, the trial wasn't a total wash. Jurors deadlocked on 6 charges, including that pesky racketeering conspiracy bit, and even cut him loose on 7 others. Small mercies in the grand theater of accountability. As for where this elder statesman will be rehabilitating, your guess is as good as the Bureau of Prisons. Poker face, details pending naturally. Illinois, darling, you've outdone yourself. What's the next on the Illinois corruption bingo card? Yes, Illinois politicians, keeping with the ever popular theme of loot the treasury and enrich your friends. That's what politicians do, ladies and gentlemen. Illinois just seems to be doing so much better at it over the years. Next, this day in legal history, on October 14th, 1949, 14 Communist Party members, leaders were convicted of sedition under the Smith Act for advocating overthrow of the government, a key Cold War era free speech case. On this date, 1964, Martin Luther King Jr. is announced as the Nobel Prize winner for his nonviolent civil leadership, boosting the movement's legal and moral authority. Our quote of the day: the guilt of murder is the same whether the victim be renowned or whether he be obscure. Cicero, 52 BC. Once again, showing that, well, the more things change, the more they stay the same. And finally, our dumb criminal of the day. Yes, the heroic tales of law enforcement never cease to amaze, but this one takes the cake, or rather a soft-serve crown. A plot twist straight out of a bad action flick. Police in Washington state discovered that nothing diffuses a one-man arson apocalypse quite like a towering mound of Dairy Queen blizzard. Who needs tear gas or snipers when you've got frozen dairy magic? So investigators recount the saga of Elijah Reagan, a 40-year-old visionary, or perhaps just a committed amateur demolitions expert, who decided Sunday evening that was the perfect time for some interior redecorating in his Pullman apartment. With the flair of a discount fireworks salesman, he fashioned a mortar from household odds and ends to launch a pyrotechnic projectile right through his ceiling. The encore, a roaring inferno that scorched 8 neighborhood units and sent a small army of tenants scrambling for safer zip codes. Truly a neighborhood block party no one RSVP'd for. In a moment of what one might generously call clarity, Reagan dialed up the estranged wife to pronounce, "I've just turned our home into a crater," while breathlessly adding that shadowy bad people were hot on his trail. Now one assumes the meth pipe in his hand lent extra vividness to this delusion. Spotting the flames, or perhaps chasing his own hallucinations, he hopped into a trusty 2012 Kia Sedona for a joyride that escalated it into a highway ballet with pursuing officers. Alas, the dance ended abruptly, courtesy of a spike strip, leaving his ride as deflated as his ground escape plans. But Reagan wasn't done. Auditioning for the role of a standoff superstar, armed to the teeth with a shotgun, a stash of bottle rockets, a fire-starting log, and enough lighter fluid to fuel a small rebellion, he hunkered down for negotiations that would make hostage crisis counselors weep. Enter the piece de resistance. Amid the tactical posturing and armored vehicle choreography, our anti-hero floated a surrender stipulation so profoundly remarkable, it bordered on genius. Make it a Dairy Queen run, he apparently declared, because nothing says I'm ready to face the music like craving a side of processed beef with your chaos. Even the accommodating host, the Pullman's finest, dashed to the nearest DQ, procured a blizzard, flavor to be determined, chocolate fudge perhaps? Oreo overload? The suspense is killing us, I know, and a hamburger to sweeten the deal. Lest anyone accuse them of half measures, they even enlisted a tactical robot for curbside delivery right to Reagan's besieged sedan, parked like a sad piñata amid a SWAT circus on U.S. Highway 195. Subtlety? Overrated. 4 hours post-blaze, roughly the time it takes to regret most life's decisions, Reagan emerged from his frosty-fueled epiphany, hands up and cravings quelled, whisked off to jail on charges of felony arson and the ever-popular eluding police, as if chases weren't clue enough. He's now cooling his heels on a $250,000 bond with an arraignment for next week. One can only hope the judge appreciates the blizzard's role in averting further fireworks. Court documents and police logs, in their infinite wisdom, remain tight-lipped on the exact blizzard variant deployed in the dairy-fueled de-escalation. Strawberry shortcake for the win. Will blizzard our bets. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's all we have for today. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. And remember, the Constitution matters.